Morning everyone. Yeah, I'm Staniforth and I work for Forestry Scotland. I wish that was me in the harvester there, but it's not. I've only ever stood on the steps of a harvester. But yeah, I work for Forestry, I work for Forest Enterprise Scotland, and we are an agency of the Forestry Commission that most of you have probably seen our signs up and about across Scotland. And we are the agency that looks after the National Forest Estate. Forestry in the UK covers about 3 million hectares. Now that's not just the Commission, that's private forestry, community-owned forestry, but woodlands across the UK, 3 million hectares, about 3 million football pitches. In Scotland it's roughly about 1.4 million, and we've got the biggest area through England, Scotland, Ireland and Wales. I work in the Dumfries and Borders Forest District, that's in South Scotland, and we border near the border with England, still quite weird for me to say that. But the area that we cover is probably about 60 to 70,000 hectares, so it's a huge big area, all the way from one side of the country pretty much to the other side of the country. I work as a recreation craftsperson, so I look after all the areas that people come for leisure areas, but before that I was a modern apprentice for 2 years as a craftsperson within the Forestry Commission. How did I get here? Well, about 4 years ago, I moved back from Australia where I'd worked in farming on cattle stations and knew that when I moved back to England, I didn't want to go back into a job that I'd had before. I didn't want to be stuck in an office or sat behind a desk all day looking at a computer screen. I knew that I wanted to go out and get some hands-on work experience. But I had no qualifications in it, I didn't have any real experience, had no idea what I was going to do, never ever thought about a career like this before. And luckily, I saw the apprenticeship scheme advertised as I was looking for jobs, and amazingly it was everything that I needed and everything that I wanted. It was a 2-year paid job, I would get hands-on experience, I'd get loads of training and tickets, and then I would also get an SVQ qualification if that's what I decided. So I thought, brilliant, great, let's go for it. And luckily enough, I got the job, and 3 years later I'm still here. So what's involved in the apprenticeship and the Forestry Commission? Well, for the first year, as I say, it's practical hands-on work experience, and you gain lots of tickets, so in chainsawing, in strimmer, bush cutter, tree planting, lots of mobile mechanical stuff as well. And in that first year, you get to go out on site and put all that into practice and work with the people that have already been doing it either for 10, 20, 30 odd years. So you're really learning firsthand how to do the job. In the second year, you can do an SVQ level 3, and that looks a bit more at supervisory roles, and that lets you put everything that you've learnt in the first year really into practice. You get to go out on your own, do the work, and you can have a bit of a supervisory and a management role. So you're not just stuck at getting your hands dirty, up to here in soil, planting trees. You also get to see how the forester manages that land and orders the trees and what's all involved. And you can follow the process from very beginning of getting the land sorted, ready for a tree, and what happens in between, sort of fast forward the 40 odd years, all the way to when the tree is ready to be harvested, cut down and then sent to the mill. So after 18 months, I was lucky enough that a permanent position came up in the district that I worked in for a recreation craftsperson, and because of all the hands-on experience that I had and the tickets that I had, I could apply for that job, and I was lucky enough to get it. So for the last 18 months, last year and a half, that's what I've been doing, and my daily role can involve anything from a litter pick in the morning on a Monday morning to fixing some play equipment to maybe cutting down some dangerous trees that are hanging across a path. I can also be skidding down mountain bike trails on a mountain bike, checking that these trails are okay for people to keep riding. I can be walking these trails as well and enjoying amazing scenery. I can be in a rally car with a British rally squad who use our forest to come and do some training and also do their rally racing. So to go through the forest at 70 miles an hour in a rally car is pretty cool when we're only allowed to drive at 15 miles an hour. It's quite scary as well. But there's a huge range of things that you can do, and I'm not just stuck in the recreation team. I might have to go and help planning, I might have to go and help harvesting, I might have to go and help conservation, bring some birds, shrieking the osprey nest. There's a huge scope within forestry. It's not just about planting a tree, it's not just about cutting a tree down. There's a lot of stuff that you can do in the industry. And it's really cool. So why should a young person try and get into this industry? Well, it's a multi-purpose industry, and there's continued training in the future. We're always going to need trees, whether it's for paper, toilet paper, fuel, a desk that you sit on, and the forest will always need to be managed. So we're always going to need someone to look after it. So it can be a career for life. I currently work with men that started off at 15, Started off on the chainsaw, cut trees down, then replanted that site with tiny trees that are this big. 40 odd years later, the trees are massive, and you've got harvesters like this coming in and cutting the trees down. And those guys are seeing that whole process. And they've done loads of jobs in between, but it's pretty amazing when you speak to them to think that they've been there and they've had this career for life. A lot of them work in the areas that they live in, but a lot of them have also been around the world in different countries and do different jobs and different roles. So it's always there. You know, there's a lot of scope for people if that's what you want to do. It's really rewarding work. You know, 3 years ago I started planting little trees. I remember spending Christmas Eve planting little Christmas trees. I've got one at home that I took as a souvenir. It's now this big. It's brilliant. I can see it growing, and that's what I absolutely love. I'm actually part of the job that I do. I get my hands dirty and I can see the whole process as it goes along. So if that's the kind of career that you're looking for, the forestry's there. It's available for you. The skills that you learn in forestry you can take on to farming, you can take into gardening, you can take into lots of other industries. You know, you can go into a science base, you can go into planning, you could work for the government. There's tons of stuff that you can do. You can earn a good wage if you want to. You know, some hard work's involved, but you can work for contractors, you can work many hours. There's a good wage and good benefits to have. It's really healthy. I don't have a gym membership. I'm out on the land every day, getting physically fit and I'm healthy. I've got no stress. It's brilliant. And like I say, there's lots of opportunities, lots of places you can go. You don't just have to stick here in Scotland, here in England, UK. You can go anywhere. Like I said, I've been to Australia, you can go to Canada. That I've been, you know, people that I work with have been in Canada and doing lots of stuff. So forestry can take you anywhere in the world. The aspirations that I've got for the future, I really want to continue working in the great outdoors and influencing a landscape for people to enjoy. And also, I want to see young people getting into forestry, and that's one of the reasons that I'm part of Lantra's initiative today. I want to, you know, be a person that someone can come and speak to and have young, relevant experience. I'm just going to quickly, hopefully, show you just some photographs, just sort of things that you can see. How do we use this? We just put next. That's how we're going.
Yeah, just do your next.
Next. Oh, okay. It's just some photographs. Oh, do I have to click next every time?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
sorry. I thought it was just mine. I'll go through these quickly. That's us just getting trees planted. That's how small they are. That's a mound you're on site. Planting, you can see the landscape behind you. It's a bit of dirty work, but it's pretty rewarding when you're planting thousands of trees a day. Spraying to look after it. Fencing in winter. That's tariffing, measuring the trees just to see how much wood's available for the harvesting team. That's a bit of recreation stuff, swimming, the harvester chopping the trees down. It's got lots of actually. Boulder. That's me. It's pretty cool when you chop the trees down. The first one and it makes a big crash. You know, so forestry is not just about planting, it's not just about chopping trees down. You've got all this sort of stuff in between. You know, conservation and wildlife. That's at ranges. I've got mechanical stuff. Civil engineering, they get to blow up some of the quarries that we have for our roads. That's pretty cool. We never got to work with them, but I'd love to pass that over for them. Yeah, just designing. Selling Christmas trees. It's good fun. And that's just a few of the landscape that we get to see every day. So forestry's cool. It's a big industry. That's it. That's me. Thanks.